Good morning, Louise. How are you?
Very well. Really good to see you, Bev. How are you doing over there in Israel?
Yeah, good. Thanks. So, a question that came up for us this week was I repeatedly say what it is I want, and he just or she just doesn't do it. For this little conversation, we'll do partners, heterosexual partners, he and she. Um, and what I notice, and this is a lot based on my work with Terry Real, is that is translated as a complaint. Like, you never take out the garbage. Don't you notice when you come home late and I get anxious? And Terry clearly expresses that behind every complaint, and this is what I'd like to offer today, is actually a request. When we repeatedly complain, we just cause a defense and a backing off. But if we can take a minute just to think, what is it that I really want? What is the request behind the complaint? And then here is the cherry on the top. And how can I support you in giving me what I need? So, for instance, let's just say it really bothers me if my partner comes home an hour late and he doesn't tell me. But he's busy with work and he's not thinking about it. How can I support you in giving me what I want? Oh, do you mind 10 minutes after whatever, come home late, you just send me a text? Yes, I can do that. We so often don't want to do that part because we think, well, they should know, right? But they don't know, and we don't know. So when it comes to them, they can also make the same request of us. What can you do that will help me? It might be you're a rager. I need you to go to therapy. Can you do that? We won't always be able to do everything our partners ask, but maybe there's one or two things that we can do, and you'll see that just changing the complaint into request makes so much difference. And then, of course, the cherry on the cherry of the top is to remember to acknowledge that, to appreciate that. Thank you for telling me why you were going to be late, why you couldn't come home earlier.
Mm.
Um, how does it manifest for you when people say, I repeatedly say the same thing and there's just no movement? And I see you smiling, you've got that beautiful smile, like, what's coming up?
Oh, brilliant. And you articulated that so well. Thank you, Bev. And yeah, so resonate with that. And I think it can come across, these communication breakdowns in all areas of life as moaning, nagging, you're continually saying the same thing. And as our old friend Einstein says, if you are mad if you do the same thing and expect a different result. So it's wonderful that you've really explained what's going on. And that's what we're doing all the time, isn't it? We're looking underneath to see what is really going on and not just at that surface level. And yes, there is a request there. Now, whether that request is met, as you say, that it's not always met, and that's where in every relationship we have to find a compromise. And so sometimes, just to build on what you've said, Bev, sometimes that isn't possible for that person to do whatever it is. Well, can we talk about this? Can we see if there is another way of looking at this so that both of us are happy with the situation? Because you're not happy that I keep asking you, and it's not making me happy that certain things aren't being fulfilled. So sometimes we do have to compromise in relationships. It's not, you don't get everything, the garbage put out every week, for example. There does need to be give and take in all relationships. And I think when you keep going on at somebody doing the same thing, absolutely the defenses go up, and it doesn't matter what you say. Then once the defenses are up, they're up. That person is not going to bring those defenses down. And I think the other thing to add to this is also to ask ourselves, what are we looking for from that person? What can we fulfill ourselves? Maybe that person, needs something that we're not giving them. And so what is that we can give them? How can, in what other area can I help you? It's not just about me continually asking from you, what is it I can give you? Because maybe that person can't come forward to give you whatever it is. And maybe it's something simple, well, not simple, but it's really important. Maybe they can't give you a hug, and maybe that's what you really are seeking. I really need you to, just hold me, just hug me, and and it just doesn't happen. But perhaps you need to give that person a hug. Maybe you've got that inside of you that you can actually give them a hug, and that will create, a connection between the two of you, so the defensive walls are not up. So sometimes we have to teach the other person what it is we want as well. I know that's that's worked in several areas of my life as well. Being able to give what it is we are really seeking.
Right, that's beautiful. So you said there were some priceless gems there. So people sometimes forget that, why do I need to tell my partner what I need? Because you live with them, because you love them, because you want this to work. And as Terry Real says, if you see this as an ecosystem, we are in this together. This is our biosphere. This is where we live. If we pollute it with angry words, with rage and violence, we breathe that in. And sometimes we might feel that speaking like the way we're saying that, this is what I need, and this is how can I help you give me that. It might sound a little bit false, and nobody talks like that in the real world, Beverly, come on. But with your own words, we need to practice that. We need to fine-tune that of, yes, speaking to our partners as we did in the early days when we first met, when we were able to say what it is we need, because they don't know. Very often men aren't brought up to cherish and to know what women want. That's just how we're conditioned at the moment in our lives, But what you said that really struck with me was the feminist movement has helped women cross the line. Once we were weak, now we are strong. But that in a relational empowerment is core, and that's what's so key. It's, how can I help you give me what I need? How can I give you what you need? So we can support each other and manage this life and the challenges together. We sometimes forget that, and we're a little bit passive in our relationships. No, so I love that piece that you brought in. That's the relational empowerment is what we want.
Thank you, Bev. That's and it's that togetherness, isn't it? We're not looking for a I'm right, it's a win-lose situation. It's we are in this together. And I think what overarches all of this is we massively assume. We just assume that the other person should realize that we're exhausted and we can't possibly do everything that we're doing. Isn't it obvious to you? It's obvious to my friends next door. My own husband doesn't even get it, And so I think that big thing, if you always never ever assume, because everyone's got their own perspective. And as you beautifully put there, Bev, men, sometimes are not brought up right this way, and they're not conditioned to think in this way. So many of us, and that's where relationships and communication particularly breaks down, with those big assumptions. Well, it's obvious to me, but it isn't really obvious to that person, because maybe they're clouded in all their stuff that you are not even, able to see, or, you have no idea what's going on in their world. And that's why communication and talking to people and not at people, and not telling people what to do and what they should be doing and all of this. So an important word I feel to come from is I. They might not want to put the rubbish out. They may not feel like giving you a hug. They might not want to do any of those things, but you do. And unless you state it from a place of I, it will come that, you're telling them that they should be doing something. So just something very simple, by using the word I, can really you know, help you to feel assertive as well and empowered, and
Right.
not telling the other person.
That's beautiful. To try and remember to stay on your side of the line and talk in those I terms. And the last piece that I would offer is going back on that relational empowerment, because women are doing so much more today. We're not just in the homes supporting a husband who goes out. Therefore, we're asking so much more from our relationships today. We want intimacy to go on for to our 80s and 90s, long walks on the beach, deep conversations. And that starts right now when I ask you how you can, or I tell you how you can support me, and you see what part of that you can give. Thank you, Louise, again for today.
Thank you, Bev.
Thank you
Wonderful
always.
conversation. Yep. Thank you for your very valuable input. Thank you, Bev.
You're
And
so
enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.